All right. Well, hello, everyone. It's great to be with you this morning. This is Myrna and Myra. We are the new M&M show, which is really fun. And we are going live here on LinkedIn. We're excited about what we have to share with you today. And we hope you're having a great morning or afternoon, wherever you are. We're both on Pacific time. I'm actually here in Scottsdale, Arizona. And Myra's in San Diego, California. So we're both, West Coast girls, if you will. But you know what's really interesting as well, Myra, before we jump into that, is we're both from other countries.
Yes, that's right. I actually had no idea when I first met you that you were not from the US.
Yes, I know. Every once in a while, someone says to me, "Are you from Chicago?" And then I say something like "out and about," and they go, "Oh my gosh, you're Canadian."
Is that what gives it away? I didn't know. I talk to people all day long, and I actually now I will make that connection going
Yes.
forward.
Well, some people say, "Well, you," because I never say "a," because Canadians, a lot of Canadians say, "Hey, how's it going, eh?"
Yep.
But I
Yep.
don't. So, and I never did. It's really more East Coast. We kind of hear that. So I
Oh.
trick them for a little while until all of a sudden they realize the situation.
The severity of the situation. You were incognito.
Totally, totally. And share with everyone where you're from.
I'm from El Salvador. I feel like everyone in the world has been sending me messages like, what's going on with your president sending all this mass media to everybody? I feel like everybody in the world knows El Salvador for a good thing these days, not for the bad stuff.
Yes.
But yes, I am excited to actually share with a lot of people what's happening in my country these days. It's actually good stuff. So I left in one condition, the middle of civil war in actually in the late for me it was actually in the early 90s when I came to the States, but my parents left in the late 80s and moved to Virginia. So even though I'm originally from El Salvador, I actually like to say that I'm from Virginia because that's really where I spent a lot of my time growing up. But I love that my country's doing something amazing these days.
That's so awesome. So awesome. Well, let's jump in. I am
Sure.
super jazzed about today. I was doing lives last year and I can't believe it's May and I haven't really done any lives this year. And it's time to get back on it. So, again, welcome everybody. I've really found over the years that people become inspired by other people's stories. If you think of it, all these speakers that travel the world on stages, they're always sharing something about their story and it's inspirational. In fact, what I've found over the years is a lot of people I've listened to, they've not just inspired me, but there's a lot of teaching points in people's journeys and what they go through, how they handle it, etc. And here on LinkedIn, oh my gosh, I have met some outstanding women. I couldn't even count. I should have started counting last year when I really got active as to how many Zooms I've done. But my community has grown with so many people that have shared their stories and that I've learned and gleaned things from. So I thought, you know what? I need to share, open it up. I need other people to hear these
Yes.
stories. I truly, honestly, cannot think of a better person to kick off this series than you, Myra. And you guys will laugh because when we met, we're like, oh my gosh, we basically have the same name because I get Myra all the time and Myra gets Myrna all the
You're
time.
all the time. Yes.
No, so we're just going with the M&M story. But I want to read to you guys a little bit about this beautiful lady because you're going to understand what you have to learn from her today just by getting a glimpse of this. So grab a pen and paper because I know you're going to want to jot some things down. But Myra is the founder of M Squared Talent Solutions. She's a corporate executive turned accidental entrepreneur. I love that. And of course, my little tag is unemployable on purpose. I mean, I went and did it on purpose. You just accidentally fell
It's
into it.
accidental.
I love it. But she has built dream teams by hiring, obviously, top talented people for two of the largest non union electrical contractors in our nation for 18 years. But here's what happened: she had a near death experience, and that pushed her into entrepreneurship. So she's now leading a multi-million-dollar brand. And of course, again, she never dreamed that she would find herself here. But here's the deal, you guys. She was actually fully paralyzed from head to toe. She was in ICU for days in a coma and incubated at
Incubated.
I can't even say the word. Okay, but you know what we're talking about.
Incubated. Yes.
And she was at 72 pounds at her worst, literally had to will herself to health again. When I saw pictures of you on LinkedIn, I, I, I was speechless. I mean, the fact that you also had a smile on your face when the nurses were helping you get up and getting to move. But you know what? She's really paving the way and wants people to understand that if they start with wellness in their life, they can really get ahead of what happened to her. So, Myra, let's jump in. And you know what? Maybe you start off and share with everybody how you and I met, because again, I think this is a really good point for everyone to hear.
Oh, absolutely. First of all, thank you so much, Mirna, for having me, for being your first guest. I feel really honored. I feel really special. Thank you very much. Really, I want to start off by saying entrepreneurship is flipping hard. I wish somebody would have actually told me that when I thought it was a brilliant idea to actually pivot into that. But it is extremely hard and isolating. And don't get me wrong, I'm actually really, really, really enjoying it. But I think in order for me to tell how we actually met, I have to tell a little bit of a backstory behind it. While M Squared, what took off instantly, skyrocketed without even a plan or anything, and I thanked my LinkedIn community. It's because of every single one of you guys are watching. If you're connected to me, it's because of you. Whether you're a candidate, a client, because of you, my business took off, and I can't thank you enough. You're my people, and I appreciate that. Well, the company was doing great and it took off and it was just doing fabulous. I realized that I needed to be surrounded by like minded people that would also allow me to elevate. Because here I am elevating other people. I'm talking to them every single day about improving their lives. But what was I doing to actually improve mine? And I found myself at the beginning of this year with I was dealing with a toxic relationship at that time, and I really needed to get out of it. I didn't know how to handle it, how to get out of it without hurting that individual's feelings too, because I care about that individual too. So one thing led to another where I needed desperately a community of entrepreneurs that would help me push me to the next level. So as I'm in this search, I actually find Melissa Hinault, and through that, one thing led to another. I ended up joining a master class, and now I'm part of a group of people that push me. And really, when I say push me, I mean push me to really do better because I'm watching people do things ahead of me that have been doing this for much longer. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to be that person. Or I see people that are just starting, and I'm like, oh, let me help you. I'm not that brilliant, but I can help you with that because I've actually helped with this area. So we met because of that masterclass. And I want to take a chance to really just tell people take the opportunity to work on improving yourself, even
Mm.
if that means that you don't necessarily need anything in particular, but it's a free masterclass. Take it. You don't know what you can get out of it. Many beautiful relationships have actually transpired as a result of that one thing that I took the time to just join. And that's how we met, Mirna. And I'm very grateful that we
I
did.
know. Well, and it was me the same thing. I mean, a year ago, same time, I joined Melissa's master class, and I started meeting all these amazing women in this community. And of course, that has just continued now over the last year. I can't even count. I need to go back and count how many amazing women have come into my life. Many have joined my team, and now we joke. We say we're making money together. We're growing old together.
Oh, I love that.
All the good
Now
things.
I'm part of your group to do that too.
I know we're well together. We're just gleaming so much. And again, it's all about that community. When you find
Yes.
that fit, invest in it.
Yes, totally.
Yeah, so cool. All right, so let's talk. Let's jump into your story because I mean, I got Kleenex here in case I start to cry. So
Oh,
let's talk about where you were in business and personally before you got sick. What was your mindset? What was going on? And then take us as to how that all happened.
whew. I don't want to go into like Zappyville over here, but believe me, if I start going down that path, it could very easily get there. So I actually am prepared myself too. But honestly, I really want to focus on the fact that where I was in my overall health had nothing to do with my employer. And I think a lot of people, especially on LinkedIn, were very quick at saying, "Oh, you're working for a toxic company, drop them and that's it, leave." it's not about that usually. It's usually the person is the problem. I was the biggest problem for myself because I enjoyed being an employee. And I still think that I would be a great employee if I wouldn't have kicked myself out of that mindset. But because I love that at a girl, that next promotion, I've worked myself down to the bone and not in a healthy way. I look back now and I wish I would have made a lot of changes for myself, not for anyone else, but for myself. But here's where I was at. I was in a constant sleep deprivation because I wanted to get ahead. I was in constant, I won't eat because I really need to help my team member that really needs my support through lunch. So I will stay. I'll come in at 5 in the morning if I need to support my team. And I did that as a steady diet every single day. Again, I loved it and no one forced me to do it. I did it because I enjoyed and I got compensated really well for it. I will admit, compensated really well. And as a result of all that, I didn't catch that I was hurting myself. I kept on getting myself to the point where one thing kept on leading to another that it just took my health completely down. So I'll just give you a quick synopsis of it. I actually started not sleeping to the point where at one point I had 20 days of lack of sleep. And that 20 days of lack of sleep propelled my health to just deteriorate even faster. And mentally, I completely lost all the neurological issues that were going on. I don't even know how I was even functioning at that point, but I still was up until my body decided to take control of the matter and say, you know what, since you won't do it, let me help you. And it just simply went fully paralyzed head to toe. I'll never forget the 19th of December, 2018. I went into work that day. I had a very important meeting and I knew right after that meeting, I can no longer stay here in this environment or else I might actually just die physically in this building. And I want to go say goodbye to my family. That was my thinking. I don't think a lot of people knew that was my thinking that day. I left. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's ever asked me that on LinkedIn. So here I am broadcasting to my 20,000K connections that what happened on that day. But
Right.
I was convinced I was going to say goodbye to my family. I went in, my family was not there. My daughters were in school. My oldest was in college. My youngest was in high school at that point. And my husband was the only one there. And I'm glad that he was there because I couldn't even open the door to get inside the house. And if he wouldn't have opened the door, I don't even know how I would have been able to get in. The Uber driver actually had to go around to allow me to get out of the car because I couldn't physically open the door. My body just completely shut down. That had happened over a period of time. I want to make sure the audience knows that it took about a year for my body to go fully paralyzed. And by the way, there's plenty of pictures. I'm a very authentic leader where I openly share anything and everything. So you can go into my page and you'll see, some stories and you'll see some images of what actually happened. But
Well,
going back to that day.
you know what? It's interesting because I mean, like you're just sharing, I mean, it was a year of all these things you were not paying attention to. Your body had
Correct.
already started talking to you, but you were just pushing on because you're a leader. You want the gold star, you want the check
That's right.
mark, you want the award, I mean, a lot of us, I think, are like that.
And I
And
didn't want to let anyone down. To me, more importantly than anything else, is I didn't want to let my team down
right.
or people that were counting on me.
Mhm.
And we do that as leaders and everyone that's here on LinkedIn. That's precisely what we're all trying to do every single day is get ahead and be successful. And listen, if anything, I can tell you today, success does not equate to what's sitting in your bank account. Success is you being able to hug your family, love on your family, be here to make those memories with your family. Because what are you working for?
Right,
What are you trying to achieve?
right,
What gets you out of bed every single day to what, earn a bank account that's super hefty? And what are you going to do if you don't have health? You don't have anything. If you don't have a mental state to be able to utilize it, then
right.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
So that's where I was at. And, I'm glad that my body decided to send me that message. And most importantly, I'm glad that God decided that my time was not finished. I'm glad that on the 11th hour, when everyone, and I literally mean everyone, the doctors had already told my husband, there's only one last thing that we can do. And if this thing doesn't work, Mayra's going on hospice. So they did that one thing. And that one thing, they came back and they said, I don't know, but it seems like this might actually work. We might actually do it one more time and one more time. And it did it for 5. And here I am to be able to talk about it. But that allowed me to change my life drastically. And if it wouldn't have been for that brokenness, for that moment of insecurity, of not even knowing if I would even be alive to be able to tell the story, I wouldn't have made those changes, Myrna. I would still be going at that pace because I was not unhappy with my life. I want everyone to know I had such a meaningful life that I loved my life. There's nothing about my life I wouldn't change.
Right.
And that literally propelled me, threw me into what I really do believe was God's calling, to push me into this direction. But I would have never done it on my own. And
No.
I think that my health was what was utilized to be able to take me to my next step.
Yeah. You just weren't listening to the little knock on the
Was
door.
it?
You needed to be on your deathbed, literally, um,
Literally.
yeah, exactly. And that, that God brought that diagnosis. God helped that doctor go, you know what, we're going to try one more thing because maybe it's this. And again, you guys can go and learn more about Myra's story, but you were forced into that decision. You didn't, your health was like, that's where you were.
It was bad. It was the constant ER trips, the constant urgent care, and I think everyone in the audience here would probably identify themselves with these things: migraines, anxiety, palpitations, the constant thing that you ignore every single day because you think it's just part of life. Let me tell you, it is not. I
Mm-mm.
now know that it is not. I wish I would have known that back then, but that's why we're here to tell
That's
you about that now.
Well, let's talk about life today because I mean, praise God, you're alive and well, you're flourishing, you're now an entrepreneur. So, what does it look like today as far as your self care and being aware, relationships, boundaries? I mean, all those things. What's important to you today? And maybe not just what's important to you, but how do you manage that? Like, what does a day in the life of Myra look like?
Ooh,
Good day.
you
A
didn't
good
prepare. You didn't prepare me for a day in the life of Myra, because a day in the life of Myra is actually very unique. It's not the same every single day. Let me tell you, boundaries is something that I have learned how to apply in my life more than ever. I probably work an average of only maybe 20 hours. And I mean 20 hours of just giving constant support to the teams. I physically can't do a lot of that. I
right.
physically can't. So because of that, because I have to protect my mind, my time, my absolute everything, I rely on the communities that I have built to help me constantly stay in check. So I have 3 communities that I depend on, so that every single day I constantly don't get myself back into the same trouble I was in. And that's my spirituality community, which I think is so beyond critical. My porphyria community, which is what now I know is the condition that I am so called supposed to have, but I, I rebuke it. That's not what I have. It's just temporary. And then my business community. And these are the individuals in my life that constantly guide me to ensure that I'm not overdoing it, to constantly ensure that I stay in alignment and in vision with what I'm supposed to be doing, and to be able to help flow in that state of mind, strictly. So, what do I do today? I literally have changed so many things, Mirna. And you and I, the reason how we even started talking about this live was when I told you that I've had to change even the products that I use. It sounds insane, but if you Google the word porphyria, you'll find that it is so rare. Not many people know about it. It has so many different things that all you see is basically so many alerts and alarms that only scare you. So because of that, I've had to do my own research and seek out people, and just in general get information that will help me. So from products, and even just the water that I intake, it's so crazy. I have to think about every single thing. So what are some of the things that I do? I've changed completely from my laundry detergent to the water that I drink, to the steps that I have to now do, the boundaries that I have to take into consideration into my life every single day. Like, for example, I don't work Mondays. For me, Sundays are beyond critical. They're really, really important. It's the day where I go to the house of worship and I literally do give in to worship. And I'm a crazy worshiper. So I stand, I sing, I praise, and that's a little too much for my body. I have a super weak body. I might look like I'm, perfectly healthy and all that, but I'm still extremely weak. So because I choose for Sunday to be kind of like a work day, Monday is not. So that's for me a boundary. I could choose to work and make a whole lot of money. Not the program that I'm on. I'm about wellness today. So that's one of the things I get constant massages, acupuncture, you name it, the things that I know will nourish me and my body. And even hypnobreath work, something that will allow me to constantly save and preserve my energy. But going into the wellness specifically on how you and I connected, really, I'm learning a lot from you. Right now, I am looking at you as my encyclopedia to learn a whole new line of areas that I have not even considered.
Right.
So people understand. I actually came to Myrna after I realized her business line, and I'm looking to invest also on what we're doing from a wealth standpoint and all that. I really don't believe that because you earn more money, you should go spend it all. That's stupid. So I reached out to her to understand what are some of the successful entrepreneurs doing. And she introduced me to a whole area of just opportunities that now I'm able to bring into my household. And it's been an incredible blessing into my family.
Awesome. Awesome. I love that even your 18-year-old is impressed with what we do.
Oh my gosh. Can I even talk about that? Like, I don't even know enough about the science that's in it, but let me tell you, we have these specific bars I have to carry. I wish I would have brought them in here. Darn it. So I carry in my purse food. And it sounds crazy because every 2 hours I have to eat something. I'm barely 120 pounds. And a lot of people are like, you eat a lot. I eat smaller portions because I have to keep my energy. But anyway, the point is that I pulled one of these out. I'm eating one. And my daughter goes, "Hey, can I have one of those? That looks really good." I'm like, "Here you go." She grabs it. She's reading it. She's very in tune. She's, as she likes to say, 18-year-olds today are painfully aware of everything that happens around the world, and including health. It's a very big deal for them. So she's reading the ingredients and she picks it up and she's bright. Like she literally starts FaceTiming a cousin of hers. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, look at what mom just got. I'm going to be able to actually lose weight while I'm actually eating this." That's not why I actually bought those, clearly,
Right.
but
Right.
it is so funny that she is so impressed with everything that
Mhm.
we have brought into the house. I love it.
That's so great. That's so great. Well, you know what? I guess just to summarize, I mean, total wellness is so many things. It's everything from who we're surrounding ourselves around, right? Our community,
Totally.
our spiritual health, the products that we're bringing into our homes, the products that we're putting into our body. I know when you and I first started chatting, I mean, we both agree that there's nothing more powerful than your body's ability to heal itself, but you got to create the right environment, right?
Yes.
And that's your gut, that's your house, that's everything around you for you to be well. Our mindset is another area, of again, what are we reading? What are we listening to? I mean, all these
The
things.
people we're surrounding ourselves with,
Yes.
I think that's the biggest thing. If you were to ask me right the second, what would be the takeaway? I would say you need to get clear on these are the three things that I would say. Get clear on what you don't want, because if you don't want to be in the constant stress, the heart palpitations, the constant anxiety spiking up, feeling all that pressure in your body that you can't even get up and walk because your body hurts. If if you know you don't want to live like that, do something about it. Write down what you don't want and then start getting clear on what are those health habits that you do want, the people you want to be around with. What is it that you do want after you decide that you don't want X? Determine what you do want. Then go get that community, because I found that once I had that community, that's when I started to thrive.
Mhm.
And then the third, get moving. A lot of people talk about it. A lot of people say they want to do it. Just do it. I mean, seriously, this is not Nike over here, but just do it.
Right, right, right. Totally. Get moving. I know.
And if you say, but I'm scared, okay, I was scared to do entrepreneurship when I had no desire for it. But I had to pivot and I was scared, but I did it anyway. So if you're scared, do it anyway.
Anyway, I love that. I love that. Well, everyone, thanks for listening in. And gosh, we just encourage you to connect with us. You know, if you're not yet a part of our community, we'd love to get to know you. We'd love to have you with us on this journey called life. You know, maybe we can help you just, take a step up to a little bit better health, better community, and all the things that Mayra and I shared today. So thank you, my new friend. I am so excited about getting to know you better. I'm so excited. Like one of these days we're going to meet in person.
We
Not just,
have to. I feel like I already know you and
I know,
Mark.
totally right. It's
We
awesome.
absolutely
It's
are finishing each other's sentences at this point. But I am with you that this life is just beautiful and it's way too short. If I have learned something at my age, is that life is way too short and it can end at any time. So invite invite wellness into your life, and you will be so glad when you
awesome.
do. You will live truly the meaningful life that you desire, and that's what I'm all about. So I'm encouraging you to get in contact with Myrna today, not tomorrow, today.
Awesome. Well, thanks, girl. Can't wait to chat with you some more. And just have an amazing, amazing, beautiful Thursday.
You too, Myrna. You take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.